Oh, make sure it kicks in here. There we go. Oh, yep, we're good to go. Give it a few minutes for everybody to storm on in. Got Dana B, Moon Sprout. My bot, one of my bots just came in.
I saw Shift Kicker when I came in.
Yeah, Shift Kicker. I think that's about it. Yeah, there it goes. It's the other bot came in quick. Dang. So how's the weather up there?
It was actually really sunny. I went for a hike in the woods today, about 2 miles into the woods, and it was actually pretty sunny. Once you got in the trees where it wasn't windy, it wasn't too bad at all.
Yeah, I'm wanting to every time I'm or plan on going out into because we've got a hiking area that that used to be taken care of until the sickness stuff came about, and then it's grown completely up to where you can't even find the trail anymore. But I still know where the trail is, so I can still go on it. But they're thinking about closing it completely down, not allowing people to go back there anymore because they don't want people to get hurt and whatnot.
I'm lucky we have in Michigan a system where we have taken the old retired rails, where they've taken out the rail lines and they've turned those into trails. And you can literally go both ways across the state, up and down and sideways.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just done away with the rail. It's just, which I'm glad with everything going on with the rail system right now. I don't need, because we used to have a rail system just a few blocks down the road, and they completely done away with it. So
yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with that right now in the world.
Yeah, I'm glad we still have one that goes through the middle of town, which is to me, it's too close too. So, because I actually heard at 4:00 this morning, they were having some kind of issue with the trains because you kept hearing the cars crashing into each other and stuff. And I'm like, ooh, hope there's nothing bad happening down there.
When they lock them together, they really smash right into each other, and it's loud if you're close.
Yeah, and they kept doing that over and over again. So I wasn't really sure what that was all about. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and tell everybody about your channel and what you do.
I'm Rebel Canners, and I started as a Facebook group teaching people to can. In Facebook, a lot of times people had questions, and if they asked their questions, if it didn't fall in the USD rule book, they were banned from the Facebook group and kicked out without even a reason why, other than you asked a question. And a lot of people came to me and said, hey, you are really into canning. Will you have a Facebook group where we can actually discuss these topics that everybody else won't let us discuss? So I'm now about 130,000 strong in the Facebook group. It's expanded to other countries. And I got tired of saying the same thing over and over again and answering the same question over and over again. So I started the YouTube so that I could just post a video of me saying these things or showing people different things. And it's kind of grown into its own thing from there.
Yeah. It is much easier. Even though you still get the same questions from new people that come in. That's kind of why I still do the same videos over again. Usually garden time, because usually garden time is when everybody starts watching the garden videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll get the same question, why do you do this? And I'm like, I just did that last year. So might as well do it again.
I've noticed that with even my canning videos or some of my other videos. Now that I'm a lot better with my photography, and I'm a lot better with, I have a mic and stuff like that. It's better to redo them because people watch the new ones where they are complaining, I can't hear you, or I can't see
Yeah.
you, or so it's always
Yeah,
good to read
when you're
those.
starting out and all you have is a cell phone, if you go beyond like 3 feet, your sound volume dips. That's why I went and got one of these things where I could go like 10, 15 feet away and
Yeah.
don't have that issue.
And I don't have someone to film me, so when I do it, it's really hard because I don't have someone to film me, so that makes it really hard too. As you're trying to demonstrate, but you're holding a heavy pot with both hands. Where do you balance the phone?
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of stuff to where I have to hold the camera and I'm trying to take something out of a box, and you have to open a bag and grab something at the same time, and you have to try to figure out how to do it with one hand.
Oh yeah, or
I know what you mean.
I was really excited when I figured out how to get the tripod to like watch the pot cooking while I was talking live, so I could do the two bit frames. I was like, oh, StreamYard is wonderful.
Yeah.
This works.
Oh, we got a question already.
Yes,
Kiwi.
I have seen a lot of kiwi jam recipes,
Yeah.
and you certainly could also can it in a simple syrup. Yes.
Yeah. I've had it's like a kiwi and lime jelly before, and it was real good. I didn't make it, but somebody else did. I got it from Amish.
Ooh.
Yeah, which was weird because you wouldn't think Amish would do anything with kiwi.
Yeah, because they're not growing them; they're buying them. They have to buy them at the.
Yeah, and it was pretty good. Kids loved it. It got ate up pretty quick.
I love those freeze-dried kiwi slices that are like dipped in sugar. Oh, those are so good.
Oh yeah. Explain to everybody what rebel canner is.
Rebel canners means that we don't always follow the USDA. There are certain things that the USDA will never test because they are sold on the commodities stock market. You will never hear of the USDA testing milk, pork bellies, which is bacon, and a couple other things, but those are the two butter, because they
Yeah.
trade those on the stock market. They're never going to tell you how to buy them low, preserve them, and not have to deal with their price gouging, price fixing that they do with the commodity system in the United States. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and it's good that helps our farmers.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but they're not in the market of putting themselves out of business. So
Yeah. I've done the bacon before. That was a long time ago. Now it just costs too much.
I'm not a big fan of the canned bacon myself. I've kind of found a way I like it a little bit better, but it's not something that I like. Oh, I'm out of bacon. I need to restock my shelf. It's just one of those things. I know how to can it if I find a great deal.
Yeah, it's almost like a jerky, a bacon jerky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's real greasy. I mean, it's a fine line between finding bacon that doesn't have so much fat that you just get a thing of lard in the bottom of your thing. It's not.
Yeah, I'd just rather put it in the freezer and then thaw it out and then fry it up.
Yeah. But I do like knowing how to can it if my freezer goes out.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a benefit to at least having the knowledge, and that's what a lot of people wanted with my group, is to at least, I'm a why learner. I want to know why. So now I know why it's not my favorite thing to can, but I know how to do it.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Whenever my power went out, I do have a generator, but I don't want to. I wouldn't want to run that generator for a long period of time. So my thought process was, I'll give it a week running a generator, and then I'm going to start defrosting stuff and start canning it up, whatever's in my freezer, because that's money going out and out. I can just live with candles and stuff until the power gets back on.
I have about a 3-day window, and then I'm going to do something.
Yeah.
My uncle, who's passed away now, but he lived next to a restaurant in Florida, and they lost power due to a hurricane for over a week. And so they were giving this food out. My uncle's like, I'll take it. So he goes up there, he hauls it home, and he cans it all. And now on a propane burner in his front yard, now he's got all that canned food. Everybody else is like, I can't get to the grocery store. Why did I not, And he's out there with a canner in the front yard feeding everybody.
There's they're very overpriced meat place in town here, which it's too high for me to shop there. But when the power went out and they were running generators for a week. I mean, the big generators for their freezers and stuff. And they came to the point to where they were spending more money with the gas than what was worth in the meat. So they had a big sale, and they couldn't take credit card or anything. They just did cash. And they actually sold out of everything within 2 days.
Yeah, and see, like right now, corned beef and beef brisket are on sale.
Yeah.
Because it's after St. Patrick's Day. There's a big sale on that. So I just loaded up. I bought 4 pounds of corned beef, and I'm canning all the corned beef hash I'll eat for the rest of the year. And then I'm going to can the brisket as roast.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about doing myself.
And I got the brisket for $3.98, and I can't buy hamburger right here for $3.98 a pound.
Yeah.
I mean, I could grind it into hamburger and still have something better than what I'd buy at the store.
They have the point part of it, because it's the cheaper part for $3.29 here.
Oh, see, that's better than here. But this had a lot of fat on it, but I'm cutting that off because I make soap. So I'm not really disappointed to have the tallow on I got the end with the tallow. I'm like, that's all right. I'm going to trim that and we'll make soap.
What is something that you will never can again?
Tomato jam. It was the most disgusting thing. Tomatoes and that much sugar do not go together. I'll slice tomatoes and put sugar on them. My dad always did sugar. My mom did salt on fresh garden tomatoes. So I thought, okay, tomato jam, this would be wonderful. I have not found a way. Usually I can take something and I can't even put it in spaghetti sauce. It's so sugary and sweet and nasty. Yeah, I can't even find a way to reprocess it. I had to dump it. I've never, and what do you put tomato jam? I didn't think this through. What do you put tomato jam on?
Well, the sugar is fine if you put it on a tomato that is very bitter. A little sugar is fine, but if you grow a good tomato, you don't need to put that stuff in there.
Yeah, it was just sickening sweet, and I didn't like the spices. It was sort of like a ketchup-y thing, but with chunks of tomato and not pureed. There was just nothing because I'm like, my mom taught me, she lived through the Depression. You don't throw food out if it's edible. Yeah. It better have, you cut the mold off the cheese, you get that penicillin off there. If there's mold on the bread, you cut the bread down to where there's no mold and you make bread cubes out of it. You don't throw good food away. And I'm trying to come up with all the ways to do something with this tomato jam. And it's like, sorry, Mom, this one's going to the chickens. It ain't. I'm turning it into eggs. That's all I can do with it.
Yeah. Well, it didn't go to waste. Just time.
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing that you've canned?
Beans. I know that
Beans?
sounds silly, but beans are really hard to can. And I canned some lima beans the other day, and the lid blew right off the top and made a total mess in my can.
Oh,
And I was very careful about how much. And I think that the ring had loosened. It was a bad ring on the jar. And I'm like, they just wind up messy. I don't like to can beans, but I do. But I don't like
yeah, yeah. It is nice to just if power goes off or whatever, you can just dump the cans in there and heat it up in 5 minutes. And
Yeah. Oh, and if I'm not the kind of person like, okay, on Friday I'm gonna want chili. I'm the kind of person like, it's a really crappy day out today and the weather's not good. Let's make chili. So I like to have beans that are just, ready to go.
yeah,
But
all beans are certain beans.
all beans, because I've had difficulties with and I do the pre-soak method. I do the Rebel dry bean method, and I always have one in the canner every time that just doesn't do well.
Yeah, it's unless you grow them and dry them yourself, you don't know how dried that bean is and whatnot, so you don't know how much it's going to expand. Because I've done some and I've had like a whole bunch of liquid at the top.
Yeah, yeah. It's just there's too many variables with beans. But they're worth it because they're cheap to can. You're not. I mean, that bag of beans cost me 98 cents. I got 4 pints out of it, and one of them blew the top off. I'm still cheaper than buying a can of beans at the store.
Yeah.
What
was I just going to say now? What's your favorite thing to can?
Canned chicken.
Canned chicken?
Canned chicken, just because it's so easy and I can make so many different meals. I have like a chicken soup starter I can with chicken and onions and celery and carrots. And I can turn that into so many, I can make that chicken and dumplings. I can make that chicken noodle soup. I can just open it up and eat it the way it is over some, make gravy and pour it over mashed potatoes or chicken pot pie. There's so many things I can do with that one jar on my shelf.
And is it hard to can pre-cooked, completely cooked brown beans?
No. If they're already pre-cooked, they're going to get really mushy. So you're going to get a product that's more like refried beans. If you don't mind, they're going to be pretty cowboy style. Like you had them all day in the cast iron. If you don't mind that, there's nothing wrong with it. Some people like their beans to still look like beans.
What's the first thing that you started with when you first started canning?
When I was 5 years old is my earliest canning memory, and my dad was poaching salmon, and I don't mean a method of cooking. And we canned all the salmon that we could fill into all the cans for our family and my brother's family, and we were still eating salmon after that fishing trip for quite a while.
Now, that's a question on salmon. Did you cut them up in chunks with the bones and everything?
Yep, bones and everything.
Okay.
You just take the head off, gut them, and my dad always scraped them just like you were taking the scales off, even though they don't have the scales that the other fish do. He just kind of ran a fillet knife over them like he was scaling them a little bit, and then brought them into my mom and I, and we just cut them up into 4x4 chunks. Mm-hmm. And you want the skin out when you're canning salmon against the glass. So skin out and then pack them in the jars.
Yeah, and then the bones when you take them out, it's like real.
No, you put a teaspoon of vinegar and a teaspoon of salt in every quart, and that teaspoon of vinegar will dissolve those bones. You won't even have them in there when you're done. By the time it's done
Yeah.
canning, you won't have bones in there.
I had a can that somebody else did. It was carp, and everybody knows carp is not a very good fish. But after they came from after canning, it was really good. I was like,
if you do it right, you can't tell it from canned salmon. If you like, you put a dash of liquid smoke in there and a couple, like a tablespoon of brown sugar, and it tastes like candied salmon. It tastes like smoked salmon. You won't know the carp's not smoked salmon.
Yeah, because I've caught like some big carp before, and and a lot of people, they'll just throw them on the side of the bank, and now I'm like, ooh.
You just have to make sure that you take that mud vein out and don't get any of that. If you know how to clean them so that they're good, they're actually a very good fish to eat, but you have to prepare it.
Yeah, and that's what I was surprised on the carp, because it was I was like looking for I was using my fork going through trying to find the bones so I could pick them out, and they just fell apart.
Yeah. I don't know about the baking soda. You need to do that when you soak them, the beans. She was asking about baking soda, adding a pinch. I think it could make more gas underneath the lid if you try to do that. I wouldn't do that. No.
Yeah, you might end up with a kaboom.
More than just beans in your canner, you might wind up with broken jars if you try that. I would not. No, I wouldn't recommend that.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Because a lot of times you'll see these out west when I lived in. I can't remember the town. It was a small town outside of Albuquerque, and there was a canal that ran through, and during the dry season, the canals would drain until low areas, and there was carps. There's a ton of carps in that thing, and people would fish them up and throw them off the side. And I'm like, why are they doing this? And I found out that they're an icky fish, until I had that somebody canned it.
Yeah, you gotta take that mud vein out, otherwise it taints the meat. But if you can get that mud vein out really cleanly, rinse it really good, and then, like I said, a little brown sugar and liquid smoke, and you won't know you're not eating salmon.
But yeah, I think salmon and carp's the only fish I've ever ate that was canned.
The other fish, like I've done a lot of like little perch fillets and a lot of panfish fillets, but it winds up being more like fish nuggets. You don't really, you need a big fillet to make it hold together. Yeah,
because the salmon ended up making salmon patties out of them.
Mm. Oh yeah,
really, really good. Yeah. And now you go to, because I remember cans of salmon used to be really cheap. It's way up there with everything else now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we talked about my iodine allergy. Interestingly enough, side note, I can eat Pacific salmon and I don't have a reaction. But if I eat Atlantic salmon, because of my iodine allergy, I can't eat them. It makes me death.
Oh, really?
Huh. Yeah. So there's,
Yeah, the way the fish is now, unless I know where it comes from, it's very hard for me to eat fish now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ship kicker northern pike is actually very delicious canned. And again, it's not something that it's something people are like, oh, it's too bony, I don't want it. But once you can it and you put that vinegar in there and dissolve the bones, it really makes a world of difference.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind. I haven't. It's been a long time since I've had pike. Did a trip up to um, Lake Erie.
Mhm.
It's been many moons ago, and
We
caught
ice
one.
we ice fish around here. We get a lot of northern pike when we ice fish. Not so
Yeah.
much in the summer. You'd think there'd be more in the summer, but um, specks and pike are pretty much what we get when we ice fish in this general area.
What's the weirdest thing that you've canned?
Ostrich,
Ostrich?
ostrich, and it is. We had a grocery store here. It was IGA. It's no longer in business, and
Same here.
they must have been getting their meat from one of these exotic farms because they'd always have buffalo and ostrich, and it was very high priced, and then it wouldn't sell, and they'd keep marking it down, and then they'd put it in the freezer and mark it down more. And when it got down to $1 a pound, I'd buy whatever they had in the freezer, venison,
Ostrich is
ostrich.
good though.
Yeah, it's like eating beef. You would
Yeah,
not think that because you think it's more like chicken, but it's not. It's actually a red meat like beef.
yeah. I remember when there was a fad. Everybody's ostrich farms, and
Yes.
then it kind of died out.
That was the 90s, and that was when I was getting it and canning it. Because at that point, my price mark in the 90s, my price mark was if I could find it for $1 a pound, I would can it if it was meat. And then I'd figure out what to do with it.
Do you raw pack it or do you add liquid for your fish?
If it's salmon, I generally raw pack it. Um, but if it's something other that doesn't have the I will add water. I'm really a gravy person. I like to keep my moisture in my meat, so I will add liquid most of the time.
Hmm. And your chicken, do you how do you do that? Do you
I
raw
always
pack it?
nope. I raw pack it, but I add liquid.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I always add liquid because I'm making gravy. I can you guess from the rebel name that I'm Southern at heart? Because every meal should have gravy with it. If it doesn't have
Oh,
gravy, it's
yeah,
not a good meal.
yeah. And plus, if you have mashed potatoes, you don't have to go and make
Yeah,
extra gravy. It's already there.
yeah. Or if like even if you're not using it for that recipe, you can always drain the chicken broth off and add it to something else you're cooking later in the week.
Yeah.
So there's more advantage to having it, and I don't like how dry the parts of when you raw pack it and don't add liquid. I don't like the dried hard parts above the water line like that.
Yeah.
I'm it's just me.
Um, yeah, I had another question. Then I read nowadays it's ketchup and ranch.
I just did a recipe on how to make your own ranch seasoning and make ranch dressing or ranch dip because at my house it's ranch. We're ranch people.
And not so much here. I For me, I would eat it, but my son he doesn't like sauces or anything like that. He was yeah. It's a texture thing. He's autistic, so it's
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I have a
Um,
grandson and a granddaughter. They're
yeah,
autistic.
I remember when he was growing up, he would like everybody likes whipped cream, but oh, you get whipped cream on no. He wouldn't touch it.
I'm with him on that one.
um, oh yeah, ship kicker got it. So what are some of the things that you have planned for your channel?
Right now, I'm doing the Global Gardening and Homesteading Skills Collaborative, formerly known as Shed Wars, and and I'm doing a lot of. I like to forage. Um, I I was an oops baby. My parents both lived through the Depression, and so and they were so redneck that they make some rednecks look cityfied. They were that redneck. Like when I was growing up, my mom made a deal with my brothers: if they could kill it and clean it, she would cook it. And so we ate all sorts of things that flew, crawled, and yeah, I don't even want to know. I have a very short list of foods I haven't tried that are, you can find in the woods. North or south.
I made the mistake of doing that myself because my grandpa told me if I get something, I have to clean it and he'll cook it up. I shot a groundhog. Oh man, that's the stinkiest thing I ever cleaned out. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh man. I ate it though.
They're greasy. They're so greasy.
Really greasy.
Lone. I can't see the chat, but somebody asked a question twice and we didn't catch it. Little lone prepper. So I don't know what she asked. If she asked again, I'd be happy to answer it. I just missed it.
Let me go up here and see if I can find it. If you have questions, it's best to do it in caps. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, I have these bifocals, so I'm looking up to read and looking down to see the screen, so it's hard to.
Yeah, Little Lone Prepper, you may be right. I don't see anything. I went up like 7 minutes and I didn't see anything. Yeah, so go ahead and ask your question again, and I'll see it this time.
But right now on my channel, I'm doing the gardening, and I'm also I've done 16 pretty lightweight foraging videos that are scheduled out between now and October, and then I hope to do something with the canning side to match each video. So like I did a wild strawberry, like the 1st of May it'll come out, and then hopefully I'll do like a strawberry jam, a small tiny batch of strawberry jam as a secondary video to each one of those. That's my plan right now. So if you've never tried cattails and always wondered what part of them to eat and how to preserve them, there's a recipe coming soon.
Are you doing the baby stems, or are you doing the bulb?
I'm going to do the stems and then the pollen.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to do the shoots and then I'm going to do the pollen.
Yeah, the bulb is it tastes good. I like it thinly sliced and fried. A lot of people will boil them. Mm-hmm. It's too starchy for me.
I'm going to pickle it. So let's.
Oh, I've heard of it, but I've never had it.
Because it's sort of like that asparagus-y kind of thing to it. So I have a recipe to do like a pickled asparagus with it. I also have a recipe. I have not tried this one, so I have to try it before I recommend it. Because I won't put anything on my channel I haven't done myself.
See, I see this one.
I saw her saying that we missed it, but I didn't see it at all. I did not know that you could take the cattail shoot and use it and ferment it with cabbage for part of a coleslaw.
Mm-mm.
So I want to try that, but I don't want to do a video until I've decided
tried it.
I like it. Yeah. I'm not just gonna put something out there that I haven't personally ate or can't.
Yeah. Because it's kind of hard saying, oh, this is really good, and you've never tasted it before.
Yeah.
There are some out there that would do that, though.
I mean, everybody told me alligator was good, too, and then I'd rather chew on a rubber tire.
Oh, alligator, so good.
Oh,
there's a place in Florida, Gator Bites.
Before Katrina, I went to the big mall in New Orleans, and they had alligator on a stick, and I'm like, oh, because I lived in Florida and never ate it. And I'm like, oh, I want to try it. So I got it, and it was like chewing on but again, it could be just the way they prepared it.
Yeah, the one place that I had it is in Florida. It was alligator bites. That's what they're famous for, is their alligator bites, and it's pretty much like a chicken nugget, but they're really good.
It was on a stick. It looked like a skewer. And it was like about 6-8 inches and was deep fried and breaded, and it was chewy. Very chewy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's probably overcooked, because you overcook them and you're eating leather.
Yeah.
I did have it also. Somebody that I couldn't understand half of what he was saying, because he's really, really Cajun, and he had a good sized tail part, and he smoked that it was real good.
Because it's sort of got a fishy thing to it, like quality. It's like a white, kind of a white meat of a fish, but also like a chicken-ish.
Yeah.
As far as cooking, but I haven't cooked it myself. So I wouldn't. You're not going to see me unless I go see my cousins in Florida. You're not going to see me, like, doing alligator on my channel. Do you can any? I always call it deer meat, but venison. Oh yes, if I get enough. In fact, I did something very sacrilegious this year. I actually canned venison tenderloin. We actually did not eat the tenderloin fast enough, and I could not bring myself to freeze it. So I was running some other stuff, and I just threw it. So I actually have done something I've never did before, because you're supposed to eat that the day you kill the deer.
Yeah, it usually doesn't, like hunting and stuff. They'll end up taking that off before it even gets to processing stuff.
Oh no, the tenderloins do not go to the processor. First of all, I process my own if I can. I have gotten a little lazy in the last few years, and sent them to one guy I trust, to cut it the way I like it, and he has sworn he will cut it the way I like it, and we write my instructions down in detail. And that's it. But yeah, I take my tenderloins out before I send them there, because like that and the deer heart we eat usually right then. And and the inner backstrap, the inner loin, and most people don't know that, and they don't get that back. If you take it to the wrong processor, you're not going to get the inner loin.
No. Yeah, and believe it or not, sometimes you actually have to tell them, because they don't know. It won't be there. They'll keep it for themselves.
Yeah. My nephew, it was nothing for my family to we had a picnic table in the backyard, and if one of my brothers or anybody got a deer, our whole family processed it. It was a family event. We would do and take care of all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly right. I felt very like I had committed a cardinal sin when I canned that tenderloin. And my nephew somehow had missed that, and he did not learn that. Even though he's very close in age to me, he just didn't quite pick it up. And so my mom and I went out to teach him, because he just didn't have the money to take this one deer to the processor. And my mom was in her 70s, and she's like, will you come with me? Because I can't teach him by myself. I just physically can't do this anymore. We got done. There was nothing left. When my mother processed the deer, there was nothing left but the toenails and the squeak. And I'm taking all the tallow, because I'm going to make soap with it, and we're rolling up the hide, and we're like, okay, what do you want to do with the hide? Are we going to tan it? Are you taking it to somebody? What are you doing with it? And then we boiled the bones down and made broth, and my nephew just looked at us, and he's like, that was a little deer, and I got all this meat. What has happened to all the meat when I take it to the processor with bigger deer? I mean, he couldn't believe,
you have to trust where you're taking it to.
Yeah.
Because if you've you've watched somebody do it, and then you watch how much, if you put all the stuff that you put on the table before you chop it up into your steaks and your burgers and everything, and then you get it all packaged up and everything, it could be the same size, and it will be 10, 20 pounds lighter.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
I've had them do that with. I always bought 4 pigs every year when I had all my kids at home. We went through that much bacon and pork, and I had a friend who would sell them, but if she, for some reason, a deal fell through and they didn't finish paying it off, she's like, okay, this one had a deposit on it, and they didn't pick up their pig. Would you like, a quarter of a pig or a half of a pig? And so I always got first dibs on.
Oh, that'd be nice.
On those when she was raising. So she raised them, and I just, put my name on the list again. And you could tell which processors you could trust and which ones
yeah.
If you know how much the animal is hanging weight, you know how much you're going to get from a hind quarter or a front quarter.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Hey, Gardener Josh, and Off the Wall Prepper came in here. How are you guys doing tonight? We had it's weird, but I bought a pig. It was a runt for $15. And it's been a while, but still, it's still cheap. And I built him a nice little pen out of skids and everything. He had like a little mud bog in it because it was actually where an old canal went through. And I did him, speaking of IPA, they threw out like probably 500 pounds of oats. And I gave him that for like 3-4 times a day, and he was a hefty guy. And I've never dealt with the pig before, other than he was nice and friendly until it was time.
Yeah.
And this thing, probably $350 when it's time to haul him off. Oh, did she?
Yeah,
do the
she did her question.
No.
There is actually a science behind that. It's called pheromones. Not every person gives them off, but the people that have very strong pheromones will actually cause food to spoil. And yes,
really?
That is true. It does happen, and it is a science. Between every old wives' tale, there's always a grain of truth and science behind it. And that, if you look up pheromones, that's it.
I never heard that.
Yeah. Especially canning tomatoes. For some reason, it will spoil your tomatoes. If you're I'm lucky, I'm not one of those persons. My sister-in-law is, and she can stay right out of my kitchen.
Oh, wow.
Don't come in my kitchen.
Wow. What I was going to about the pig, and because he had got out before, and I got him back in there, and I pet him and everything was good. But when it was time, trying to get him in the back of the truck, and he got very angry. He came after me, and I had a dog that maybe 40 pounds. And saved me. Yeah, and he laid into him, and after that we got him in there. It sounds bad, but we taped his feet together until we got him down to the processor, and they dealt from him there, and they were really good. They asked me what parts that I didn't want, and because they knew I never done it before, and I took another one that I did after that to another place because it was like $10 cheaper, and I ended up with half of what I got off the first one. I said no more. I'll stick with the same guy.
Yeah. I raised 5 pigs One was the runt they threw in for free, and that was not a good deal, let me tell you, because that thing was always looking for ways to get out. And I said, I will never raise pigs again. I literally had razor wire at ground level so they couldn't dig out underneath, and they were still getting out of that pen.
Yeah, and that's the mistake I did. I just put the skids flat on the ground and found out they if they get their nose under it, they'll lift the thing right up in the air.
I just had to literally have the razors like you see on the tops of prisons. And they still got out. I said, I will never raise pigs again until I get a cement slab with a drain that I can hose down, and it'll all go out that drain where I want it to go, and about 5 foot high cement embankment around it. I will never raise pigs again. They're nice to raise, but I don't want to chase them. I'd rather chase a goat. Yeah,
I've seen them because I had really heavy. It was really heavy skids, and I had them, and they got their nose under it and lifted the whole corner that was connected with probably 6 feet of it, and lifted it up and went right under. I'm like, how? How are they doing this? And then that's when I started. I dug the whole 4 feet down and put the skids in there.
I had red Durocs, and they're about the color of this. And I was on my own 10 acres, and I went out looking for them, and I didn't have orange on. It was opening day of deer season. I didn't have orange on. And I almost got shot by my neighbor who was hunting on my property illegally.
Oh, wow.
Got them back in, and the next day I shot them and hung them from a tree because they got out again, and I wasn't chasing them again after I just about got killed doing it the first time. I hung all 6 of them from a tree, and you should have seen the people come by and stop because they thought I poached 6 deer. Because in that neighborhood, you do. And like I said, that was the neighborhood I was originally raised in. And
I went to a place. A farm that was processing their pigs, and that's a lot of work because they scraped them down and everything.
Yeah, I will never do 6 in a day again. I was like, I don't know what I was thinking other than I was done, and they were not going to get out because they were going to be dead, and that was a lot of work to do 6 in one day. And I would never, ever do that again.
Yeah, that's when I seen how much work they did at that. I said, I'll take my pigs to a processor.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. That was the only time I ever processed pigs. I thought, oh, it's just like doing deer. It'll be no big deal. And it's a lot more physically.
Somebody's going fishing. Oh, that's what I miss about. You don't see many crappie up here.
I've caught a few up here, but I had to throw them back because the river I caught them in, you can't eat the fish out of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of that this year.
Yeah.
I've been trying to decide if I want to get my license or not this year.
My son just informed me yesterday that his license expires at the end of the month, and I'm like, oh, that's right. End of March, it expires. You got to get a new one April 1st. April Fool's joke, our DNR plays on everybody in Michigan.
Ours is February 28th.
I don't know. He just looked at his, so I think.
Yeah. You would think it would be when you got them, but it's
no, because
February 28th.
It goes through the season, and ice fishing season ends, and then you can buy your license on like April 1st, but you can't actually catch and keep anything until like the middle of June. So.
You have a good night too. Get feeling better. But when I was down south, I'd done a lot of crappie fishing. You get some really good size ones down there, and the stuff I've caught up here are just like little bluegill.
Don't worry, Homestead Aquarius. I've already booked my passage on. We've been sweetening up a guy that has a boat, and we are planning our trips on Lake Michigan already. We've already been like, I got a case of beer waiting in my fridge if you'll take me out. So
Yeah. If I did do any fishing to where I'd eat the stuff, it would have to be northeast, or not northeast, northwest, because all the train stuff here.
yeah. Shift kicker. I'm somewhere in Michigan. I don't like to say where, but I'm not far from anywhere in Michigan.
Well, April 1st in Minnesota too. Yeah. Now it's easy because you can get your license online now. You just print it out.
They do that with the deer license now. If you hit them with a car, you can and you want to keep the deer, you can actually get you don't have to wait for the state police to come and write you a license on a sheet of paper. You just go online and tell them you're taking it and it's yours.
Yeah, I just did a thing. You might be a prepper if you thing, and one of the things is I used to, because you can't do it now, is the local where people hit a deer or something, they'll call a record service. They'll go to pick up the vehicle, and they'll call me and say, "Hey, we just hit a deer here." Can't do that anymore.
I'm on the list here.
Yeah, they said they can't do that anymore.
Well, now if you hit it, you just, I have a few friends that I'm like, if you hit a deer, call me.
Yeah. Because so often you'll just see them and they'll leave them set out there for a couple of weeks.
And you can at least get those inner loins and the tenderloins if you can't get the rest of it. Or, usually you can get a front quarter or a hind quarter. I mean, you don't usually, unless you're a semi-truck, you're not going to like.
Oh, yeah. Because I've seen it before. You'll see them cut. You'll cut down and peeled off from the top of their backs. Oh, somebody got those.
Yep. But, I mean, it's still good eating, unless it's June, July, or August.
Got some big carp we got on video yesterday. Oh. Michigan.
Somewhere in Michigan. I usually lie and tell them a different area of the state every time. So.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm not going to tell much about is my actual location.
Yeah, if I had to do over again, I would have I would have go to the next town over to get a P.O. box, because I've had issues with people. I'll just leave it at that.
I have a lot of people who don't like me because I let people ask questions about like water bath canning, things that should be pressure canned. But I'm a why learner. So if somebody just tells me I can't ask the question, that just drives me crazy. And so I have a whole.
They didn't have pressure canners back in the day. They water blades.
Don't use pressure canners.
Yeah.
The Amish don't, and neither do most countries.
It's just double the time if it's meat and stuff. Yeah. Have you ever canned on an open fire?
Yes. Okay. Yes. In fact, I do a lot because I love to go camping and I love to forage. Sometimes if you go camping with me, you will be like sitting there grinding the apples or the crab apples. You might be, making some Indian pipe tincture, or I've just
seen a I forget what they call them. It's a pitter thing, but they call it a stoner. I think a cherry stoner or something like that. From the 1800s.
But it just cherries,
yeah.
I have one of those.
It was all messed up though, but yeah.
Mine still works. That's one of the things I wanted. I also like to do like choke cherries. chokecherry has a lot of medicinal value, but they're tiny, tiny little
Oh,
things.
the little ones, yeah.
Yeah, I love chokecherry jam and jelly and juice, and it has a lot of medicinal, anti-inflammatory properties and stuff like that that I enjoy benefiting from. And so I've made chokecherry jam when I've been out camping. We've made crab apple.
Yeah.
Right over a fire.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like crab apples.
But you can make your own pectin from them. They have more
Yeah.
pectin than regular apples. So if you can them, you can make pectin and then use them to make your jam and jelly instead of buying store-bought pectin.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I thought I seen another one, but it might have been the one up there. Well, it's about that time. Is there anything you want to say to everybody before you?
Thank you for coming. If you have any questions, you can always ask me, either in the Facebook group or on my channel. I will try to answer them, but I'm not going to give you advice that I haven't done myself. So
yeah, that's good. You should never take advice from somebody that hasn't done it.
Yeah.
I
mean, I got a lot of book learning, but that's not going to help you out in this situation.
Yeah. Of course, if I've seen it, that's another thing too.
Yeah.
If I've witnessed it, that's a little different than.
Yeah.
But thank you for hanging out tonight, and
thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. I've been wanting to get more canners and stuff coming up here because everybody enjoys when we talk about canning and stuff, and it's right now it's important.
It is. It's really important right now, especially when you can buy something on sale and keep it and not have to use your electricity to preserve it.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm not sure, but we'll probably be over at Jeff's tomorrow, and we do have a live tonight. I'm not sure about 101, but I know 10 is going live tonight at her normal time. And we'll probably be back here for Friday's live. And we will catch you guys later. Thanks for hanging out.